Did I click it? Oh, yeah. Welcome one and welcome all to the greatest show of them all.
That's
it
a
is
good
the
blooper.
NFC East Mixtape volume 179. He is Brandon Lee Gowton from Bleeding Green Nation. I am RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys. We talk about the NFC East specifically here on the mixtape, and you can watch us live, only YouTube. We know, we share the sentiments, but you can watch it a number of places, 4 different places actually. 2 of them at Bleeding Green Nation, SB Nation's home for Philadelphia Eagles content on their YouTube channel. You can watch either, and Brandon will demonstrate here, the horizontal version of the show or the vertical version of the show. And similarly, you can watch either version of the show, whichever visual preference you have, on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel, SB Nation's home for Dallas Cowboys content. So BLG, happy Tuesday, December the 2nd. It's our first mixtape in December, and you sound better from a health perspective than you did last week, but certainly not from a rooting for your favorite team one.
Yeah, I feel a lot better physically, so that's really good. Had a nice Thanksgiving last week with Rachel, her parents, her brother, and her brother's partner, and my parents. Rachel's vegan, so we had a lot of good vegan food that she had picked up from different places, and also a lot of awesome leftovers too. So
I have kind of like a leftover plate of things I want to say before we get to the actual mixtape stuff. On the subject of leftovers, I saw this TikTok last night actually that somebody was saying like they love Thanksgiving leftovers, but they hate the chore that it is to warm them up, right? Like, because there's because there's different things in different Tupperwares, and some things are in Ziploc bags or whatever, and some things require longer time in the microwave. Like, it can be a taxing.
This is very much a first world problem.
It is a very much first world problem, but what I was upset about was the presentation in the TikTok made it seem like the person was going to have something like, like a solution, like I hate this, and that's why I have special plate, you know what I mean? Whatever, special warm-up thing, but there wasn't. It was just the person having the same problem I do. So I was a little bit pissed off about this. But the other thing was, right before we started streaming, we're talking about coffee, because I have a peppermint mocha that I mentioned, and you asked where it was from, and I said Starbucks. And this used to be a thing a long time ago, and so we have often put out the bat signal to the NFC East audience, and they have come through with different things. A long time ago, my wife loves regular coffee. She doesn't really do any kind of like specialty drinks. Usually it's just straight up coffee, cream, oat milk, whatever, and no sugar, actually. A long time ago, Starbucks used to offer something that they called the January cup. Are you aware of this?
Vaguely.
So I'm approximating here, but I think it was like $50, and you would buy, it was like a thermos, and you would buy this cup, and throughout the month of January, you could go technically once a day to any Starbucks and have them fill it up for free. So you would pay this one-time fee of $50, but you would make up your money if you went every day of the month, which my wife would definitely do. And I don't want to call her out, but she would go multiple times a day, you know what I mean, to different Starbucks. So technically she was within the right, but I wish that existed. So if it does, and I'm unaware, somebody please tell me. That's my question.
The biggest thing I can think of that still runs with that fast food, I think like Wendy's does a Frosties thing where you can like buy a Frosties tag and you can get like a lot of Frosties for cheap. That's the only thing I think of.
The other one I thought of, not fast food, but like a lot of movie theaters sell replenishable or refillable popcorn buckets, stuff like that. So same sort of concept. But it is week 14, which means week 13 is in the books. And for the second straight week, the Dallas Cowboys were the only team in the NFC East to win their football game. Now, the week prior, they beat the Eagles, and so we started with that game, but we do still have to go in divisional order, and the Eagles don't seem to want to be at the top of the NFC East, but they are nonetheless with an 8-4 record, a Black Friday loss that I enjoyed quite thoroughly. It was just a wonderful day to eat leftovers when they were freshest, and also watch all Eagles fans implode and crater in just stunning fashion.
Well, yeah, I did not enjoy watching the game from a standpoint of just watching the Eagles offense is just like watching paint dry. I'd rather watch paint dry, actually. I think that's a diss to watching paint dry, because that might actually be more enjoyable. It's so pathetic. And I want to bring up a stat here because I thought this was pretty interesting when you contextualize just how bad this Eagles offense has been, as I come on and say every week, most expensive offense in the NFL by far. And this comes from my good friend Bo Wolf from PHLY here in Philly. Eagles offense currently ranks 17th in EPA per drive and 26th in success rate. So
I saw the success rate thing floating around. Yeah.
And arguably below average. And then here are all the times over the past 20 years the Eagles offense has finished in the bottom half of the league in both of those categories. 2012, 2015, and 2020. What is the common link between those things? In 2012,
I don't know. Can I guess? Because I really don't know the answer. 2012, 2015, and 2020.
What happened after all those
coach
seasons?
Got fired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andy Reid fired 2012. Chip Kelly fired 2015.
I was struggling to figure out when Chip Kelly was hired. Like that was how I was retracing the steps. I kind of forget when Andy Reid was fired. Like everything starts with the Chip Kelly
end of
being hired thing.
I mean, he technically wasn't fired. He stepped down or like whatever language they used, but he was forced out, obviously. But like that's to say this isn't just like Eagles fans. Because like there was this weird thing. Apparently, I didn't watch the broadcast because I was there at the game. But apparently, the broadcast was like, "How are Eagles fans booing? They just won the Super Bowl earlier this year." It's like, okay, well that can be true. Like they won the Super Bowl. Obviously, an amazing achievement. And also, right now, the reality right in front of us is that watching this team sucks. Like the offense sucks so bad to a level. Clearly, as I just read to you, where it has cost the head coach their job in the past. So it's not like, oh, everyone's being too harsh and too overreactive. It's like, no, this is a really, by the franchise's own standard that they've set, this is a really bad low for them. And I have to say, there's like no end in sight in terms of, like, I don't know what you're pointing to believe this offense is going to get better other than just like, hoping that it will. And hoping isn't really a strategy to me. The Eagles aren't changing their play caller, apparently. At least, so they say. It is possible that Kevin Batullo is kind of being like stealth demoted here and someone else is taking over more of a play calling role. I'm sure that would leak at some point and we could find that out. That's what happened in 2023, since we all want to talk about 2023, when the Eagles demoted Sean Desai. Nick Sirianni didn't come out and say, hey, Sean Desai is getting demoted. Matt Patricia is the defensive coordinator now. That leaked out through like Jay Glazer reporting that. So we'll see if that comes out. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel good about the Eagles' outlook right now because, as I've said in the past, even with the defense being the unit you can hang your hat on, and they have been more often than not this season, they can't be literally expected to win the game for the team entirely with the offense carrying 0% of the weight, because what happens at some point is the defense falls off like they did against the Bears and they allowed 280 rushing yards. But like, you'd be a fool to blame that game on the defense because they're on the field for like 80 something plays. And part of that's because you have to get off the field, obviously, and force third downs and get stops. But they had some red zone stops. They had a fourth down stop. They're 10 straight fourth down, like you forced a turnover on downs. Like that's amazing by this defense. They also generated a takeaway that put the offense in position to score.
An amazing takeaway, like an amazing feat of athleticism, not like a fluky tipped interception or something. Right?
And even if they just kicked a field goal there, which would have been a failure, you still would have taken the lead in the game. But they couldn't even do that because then they turned the ball over. So I don't think people are mad at the defense, to be clear, in mass, because everyone can see that it's the offense not really pulling their weight and the defense like can't just be perfect. But that's where we are with the Eagles. And I think they're absolutely on the verge of collapse. Yes.
I have a lot of
things, but I'm going to answer it.
I have a lot of things to say, obviously. But Brett, you're the Eagles person here. So Brett Eclipse asked a question about the Sean Desai demotion being revealed straight up.
Jay Glazer reported it like that morning.
Okay, so just again, I wanted to make sure that you answered that question specifically.
It's in that, like, the Sunday NFL, like,
like at 11 a.m. Central, like the final, like dump their weekly notebook stuff on all their national shows move. Okay, so I want to try to go chronologically. With regards to the 3 years in question and the head coaches being fired, all offensive coaches. So that is significant in that it's not, like Aaron Glenn, like somebody who doesn't have any influence over the offense or whatever. Like this was their specialty. Certainly even more so. I was going to say even more so with regards to Chip Kelly and Doug Peterson, but Andy Reid is like the offensive guy. So tough scene. The broadcast stuff is whatever. Like I am fully enjoying all this, but to act obtuse, like, oh, why are they so mad? It's kind of dumb. It's ridiculous. Like, again, I want Eagles fans to squirm. I do think that Eagles fans are almost like, it's kind of like when you have like I'm not calling Eagles fans insecure. I think they are sometimes, but when you have this deep fear of something happening and then it finally happens, and so you almost feel like relief and security in that, like, you don't have to be afraid of it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because it finally happened. I think there is some weird psychological thing happening in that regard. But I also think, that what I said last week is true. I'm going to agree with myself that for so long, almost half a decade, the Eagles offense has done a great job of capitalizing on a market inefficiency. And some of those things have caught up to them and they can't do it anymore. Like that the tush push led to a fumble because there was no forward progress blown in this game is a microcosm of that principle, not of it fundamentally or schematically, but in that, like, I love to reference this a lot. Have you seen the Third Mighty Ducks movie?
Maybe I don't.
So in the Third Mighty Ducks movie, the Ducks have gone to high school. It's like this prep school, and they have these scholarships, and they're no longer the Ducks. They're playing, for the school, and I think it's like the Blackhawks or something. And they schedule a game without their coach's permission against the varsity squad because they think they're badass. And they show up at like 6 a.m, and they just get their teeth kicked in. Like, they just get destroyed by the varsity team. And it's hilarious looking back on it. But then the coach shows up and like blows everything dead and is just like cussing out the kids for doing this without their permission. And in the scrimmage, they try their flying V, the trademark flying V. And the varsity team just like literally runs them over. Like, they're just like, okay, like you want to try this? And the coach says, your little duck tricks won't work here. And so I feel like there's a lot of these duck tricks. I don't want to call them tricks because they've been, there's been a lot of logic and reason and, brilliant minds and brilliant decisions that have gone into these sorts of things. But the tricks, for lack of a better word, are no longer working. And so what are you going to do? Oh, how are you going to, like, where are your new tricks? Like, do you have any tricks at all? Or are you just relying on hoping that maybe this time it will work? And I think that it's funny that even now, AJ Brown got fed and that didn't work. So the one carrot that existed from an idea perspective of, okay, if the Eagles just do this, everything will get fixed. Like, that doesn't even work at this point in time. Again, somebody has to go to prison, like I said with you in stats last week. And I don't know who that person is, but maybe it is Nick Sirianni, but I don't think that that's the whole problem. I think that Nick Sirianni deserves a lot of blame, certainly, but that is not the whole problem with what's going on here.
I don't think there is the whole problem because of what this looks like. It doesn't just take one person. And Nick has talked about that, and he's right. But also at the same time, I think part of the problem is there's no evidence he's providing solutions at all. Like, I don't know what you're pointing to and saying he's really helping fix that. I think where the Jalen Hurts of it all comes in is that I think it's absolutely true that Jalen Hurts has not been like helped in terms of schematic. I don't think there's a schematic advantage. I don't think there's like a play calling advantage.
Well, so what? Like at a certain point.
Well, wait, I'm not done with my point.
Well, maybe that's what you're about to say. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my point here is that we can't. So I think that's fair to say. I don't think like Jalen Hurts has been set up to succeed to the point where, like, without a shadow of a doubt. At the same time, it's not like I think sometimes people look at or talk about like the quarterback and their culpability in things as the same as, like, let's say like Dallas Goedert drops a couple of passes. Like, that's not the same thing. Like, that's not to say, like, yes, does it matter that Dallas Goedert drops a couple passes? I'm not even like, this isn't even a specific example against him. I'm just using that for example. Yes, but that's not the same thing as like the $250 million quarterback making mistakes too. Like, it's not fair that the quarterback has to carry that load in a perfect world, but that's the reality of the situation and the reality of the resources you've invested that player. Like, Jalen Hurts has to overcome some of these things to a greater extent, and that's not to the extent that, like, for what I'm saying by the coaching limitations, I don't think Jalen Hurts plays better and like, oh, he's the MVP and the Eagles offense is the best in the NFL. Like, I don't think that's the ceiling for this offense, even if he plays a lot better, because guess what? He has played well at times this year. He had a perfect passer rating against the Vikings. He looked really good in that game. Did the offense look good in that game? No, it didn't, because it felt like it's not like cohesive and well built together as much as like, oh, they relied on the talent to make big plays, which is basically like the story of the offense and how it's had been able to have success is like the talent will eventually win out. That's kind of like their philosophy on things. And if it doesn't, well, then they're kind of screwed because the scheme doesn't win out ever, or at least not often enough. So Hurts absolutely has culpability in this, but I would absolutely love to. He's just not going to be the place where you start. You're not going to flip that lever first. You're not going to bench him. You're not going to move on from him before you're trying something with the coaching staff. So I'd at least like to see something different with the coaching staff before then we start to fully put it on Hurts.
I agree that the most logical or the most likely move is not Hurts related, but I think that the culpability may wind up ultimately being the most Hurts related, which is why there are the reports that continue to leak that, players or coaches or whoever are dissatisfied with him and his potential or his abilities, and that he's, again, for lack of a better word, handicapping the offense. I think that's hard to dispute. That's hard to argue against right now. And you said it isn't fair, and I agree with that. But then, I mean, this is a cyclical conversation, but it is fair when you're the one who gets all the credit, right? When you're the one who gets lifted and hoisted, and you're the one who gets to do the photo shoots.
Super Bowl MVP,
right? You get to be the face of the success. So this is the other end of the kind of walk. Yep. And so, I mean, I don't like to do the Eagles fans are saying this because I think you can find a fan that says anything. Like, I'm sure there are Eagles fans who are saying Hurts is perfect. There are some who are saying he's terrible. So I don't mean that. But you, not Brandon or not anyone who's watching, you can't on one hand say Hurts is awesome, Hurts is amazing, Hurts is a top 5, a top 10 quarterback, whatever. And then in the very next breath, when things aren't going perfectly, say it's Kevin Patullo, it's Nick Sirianni, it's whatever. It has to be all Hurts or no Hurts. It can't. So you're either proving that he is benefiting from the super team or however we want to parse it, or you're, having to reckon with the reality that he is limiting everything else, and that AJ Brown might be right, and that Saquon Barkley can't do it all if he doesn't have a quarterback who isn't, threatening from an aerial perspective. I think it's more of the latter. I think it's more that they have done a wonderful job of, I don't want to say, getting every drop of juice out of Hurts that they can, but maybe they have. He has talents, and we've talked about this. We talked about this after the Giants loss. There are clear strengths to who Jalen Hurts is as a quarterback. He is fundamentally very different than Dak Prescott or Jordan Love or Patrick Mahomes. He's just a different guy, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but there are limitations to who he is, and I think that we're seeing themselves play themselves out, because you reach a point invariably in this sport where the quarterback has to be able to take over. The quarterback has to be able to win. And right now, and for a long time at different times, it seems like Jalen Hurts can't be that guy. He has been, and he has been in the most important moments, certainly, but he certainly is living up to the argument that he can't be the thermostat, that he's more of the thermometer reading the room and the temperature of everyone else around him.
He's playing the worst football. He's playing I don't think he's playing the worst football of his career in terms of this is him playing terribly, as much as the offense is having the quarterback position, the offense, they're getting the least out of that. And I don't think that's just because he suddenly sucks now. I think that's kind of hard to believe. And also when people are talking about the offense looks like, he has said it himself, the offense looks like how he wants it to look like. There's truth to that. But you can't, it's hard to intellectually be well, he wants the offense to be really hard for him because he doesn't want any schematic advantage, because that's kind of what you see when you look at the all 22 analysis, and there's a lot of good stuff in that respect on bleedingnation.com. Shout out to Johnny Page, who does a lot of that film. He looks at the film every week. He's and Johnny, I think, calls it like he sees it. He's not just I'm a Hurts guy. I love him no matter what. I'm not going to be critical of him. I hate the coaching staff. I think Johnny usually calls it like he sees it. And every single week he's looking at this, and a lot of the other all 22 film guys and people in the Eagles world in that respect come to similar conclusions. This is a joke. This is a joke of it's not even just the design. It's also right now, literally the coordination. The Eagles go for 2 late in that game. It's a whole talking point, which I don't even think we need to get into. And
I can't believe that we still have people who don't understand this.
I agree. But the Eagles are running that 2-point conversion, and half of the offense is doing one thing and half of the offense is doing another. They're not even on the same page, and it's the biggest play in the game at that given point. That's not just the quarterback at that point. That's literally the offensive court. They do not look coordinated. That's on the head coach. That's on the quarterback. All these penalties. It can't just be the quarterback. They have a ton of penalties. That's not all just Jalen Hurts. A lot of that is I think that you have to point to coaching. The issues keep happening over and over and over. Players obviously take culpability too, but from a top-down level, like if they're going to keep happening at the highest rate or one of the highest rates in the league every single week, like the coaching has to be part of that. What is Nick Sirianni bringing to the table? I ask that every single week. I'm watching the Eagles look helpless, just like they did down the stretch in 2023.
Well, okay, like
I'm just wondering, what is he?
What does
helping with?
Jalen Hurts bring to the table right now?
He needs to play better, but I've seen him make plays.
But answer that question.
They won the Vikings. He had a perfect pass rating in the Vikings game.
Okay, but like
he carried the offense in week
does
one.
Nick Sirianni deserve zero credit for the Vikings game then? I mean,
Jalen Hurts has carried his weight.
We can't just look at the good things and be like, okay, that's when Hurts was bringing to the table.
Well, here's why I'll give Sirianni credit. I'll give him credit in the Vikings game because it felt like things could have folded after losing to both the Broncos and the Giants, and they didn't totally fold. So I guess there's something to be said for that. But the underwriting theme through the season is that like the vibes are atrocious. No one seems to be happy. The players might like hate each other. So what is he bringing to the table ultimately?
I just think, and I'm not in any way arguing for Sirianni, and I can't believe like all year long how much I've defended him and had to like remind people that he is not the worst coach to ever live. But it can't, and I'm not simplifying your point in saying that you're saying this, but it can't just be that Nick Sirianni brings nothing. Nick Sirianni's doing nothing. Nick Sirianni's guys, they suck. Like at a certain point, somebody else has to suck also. It's the inverse of what I used to say for years about how you couldn't say that Jerry Jones sucked, Dak Prescott sucked, Mike McCarthy sucked when they were winning all these granted regular season games.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so it can't only be that Nick Sirianni is just this like handicap demerit, just like anvil weighing on everybody. It can totally be part of it, but it can't exclusively be that. And then it can't just be, in the Vikings game, Jalen Hurts powered through the Nick Sirianni trash. Like it has to be multiple people the same way success is multiple people.
I think the talent has often had to overcome the head coach. I do think that's true. And I said that last year. This isn't a new take. I said that when they were winning games at a high level last season.
Well, then
I had the same belief.
At a certain point, Howie Roseman deserves criticism for continuing to employ Nick Sirianni. I mean, like, what's the and Jeff Lurie deserves criticism. Like, if Nick Sirianni really this visibly sucks, then why would anybody in any point of leadership want Nick Sirianni to run the Eagles?
Well, we'll see how things go after this year.
I want to say manifestation because I think he's an amazing player. We talked about this, but and not even prediction, but as if the Eagles do collapse, the last collapse led to an all-time Eagles great walking away and retiring, and Jason Kelce. Maybe it's Lane Johnson. Maybe the 2023 happens in 2025, and the Eagles collapse, and Lane's like, you know what, I'm done, and then it's all.
And then they go back to the Super Bowl next year.
I mean, if we're playing the whole game, I wanted to stop it right there, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. But okay, anything else from?
I think that's entirely possible. I think they could entirely collapse this year and totally just blow it, and then that's be very good again next year.
I have two final questions, and then we'll move on to the Cowboys. But how possible? 1 to 10, do you think a 2023 is here? Like, obviously, that's what Cowboys fans have a high level of interest in.
I said this during right after the Lions game. I did the post game. So I think what was a couple things that I'm like leaning into what I'm feeling. I think we were kind of fighting that feeling after they beat the Packers. They won 10-7, but I was like, man, I'm really discouraged by this offensive performance because you're coming out of the bye week. It seemed like they had been starting to figure things out between the Vikings game and the Giants game, easily their best game of the season. And yeah, the Giants are horrible, but I was like, okay, they actually seem to have, not only did they just have moderate offensive success, they had great offensive success against that Giants team. So you're starting to buy into it a little bit. You get the bye week, you're getting healthier, and they come out, they score one touchdown, and they look like rudderless. They look even worse somehow than they did before the bye. I'm like, man, I'm really discouraged by that. But okay, maybe the Packers defense is good. Maybe the cold is hurting them. They go into the Lions game, again, one touchdown. It's like something has to change at this point. It's like it's very clear that staying the course is not the answer. How can you argue that? Well, how can you say, we just need to keep riding this out? Like, it's not they're close. They're close. They're not close.
To answer that question, I think, or the answer is that they won the Lions game. Right. Right. That's the answer. Like, I'm not justifying it or corroborating it, but that is the answer is if you're Nick Sirianni, it's, hey, all of you are freaking out, but the Eagles won this football.
But to this point, though, then I was not feeling great about their outlook after that game. I picked the Cowboys to beat the Eagles because I don't trust this offense. I did think they were going to bounce back. I gave them too much benefit of the doubt, and I don't feel good about that. I didn't think the Bears are that great. I still don't think the Bears are all that great, to be honest. Like, Caleb Williams does not really impress me
Ben Johnson took his shirt off, dude, and he got free.
I do believe in Ben Johnson, so I kind of regret that part of it. The Caleb Williams part of it, I mean, I'm not into that guy at all. I think he stinks still. I I leaned too much into not trusting the Bears, and I didn't weigh properly enough that I shouldn't have trusted the
What
Eagles.
an amazing line that was. I mean, we both did take the points. Like, I mean, it was 7 points to give the Eagles offense 7 points.
And again, the Eagles got blown out. Like I hate that the final score only is 9 points. Like that does not indicate how like much of a difference that game was. The Bears crushed the Eagles in that game. Score looks so much closer than it actually was.
I have one final question, and then we'll kind of spin forward after the Cowboys, in whatever with the Giants and Commanders. But this is somewhat selfish. But Dave Caldwell was named the GM of the Florida Gators after they hired John Sumrall formally on Monday. And so my question is, A, how awesome is he? But B, how upset are you? Like, how critical of a loss is this? Like, that is, I mean, you're talking about somebody that's part of the front office and leaving one Gator and Howie Roseman to go join the rest of them.
Yeah, I'm sure that had a connection in terms of how you got
I totally had a connection. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know specifically what he did. I mean, they had success when he was here since 2021. Howie likes to seem to hire these former GMs / Matt Russell, who used to be the Broncos vice president of player personnel. They have him at the same title as Dave Caldwell. They rehired Joe Douglas, who had been the New York Jets general manager after previously being in Philly. So I think that seemed to be like a precursor now in hindsight of like Caldwell leaving, because it used to be Russell and Caldwell, and those two, it's like senior personnel advisor / special assistant to the GM titles. It seems like Joe Douglas is going to pick up some of that slack. So, I mean, I don't think it's a bad move for the Gators to take a chance on that versus someone else, but I don't know how good he is.
I mean, yeah, again, it was selfish on my part, but it was interesting, and it does actually make me less excited, and from a Gators and Cowboys perspective, that Gator alum Howie Roseman was like, yeah, go help the Gators. Like, I don't need you here. You know what I mean? Like, because if Howie's not the type of person that would be like, oh, you can help me, go ahead. I mean, I understand that Howie wants the university to prosper as well, but again, kind of a jokey sort of question and answer. But okay, the Dallas Cowboys played the day before. The Dallas Cowboys were, as I shared in our Slack message with our coworkers, the only home team on Thanksgiving or Black Friday to win. I tweeted that out, and I had a lot of people tell me like, wow, normally we're the other side of this. Like normally we're like the only home team to lose or whatever, but they were the only home team on Thanksgiving Day or Black Friday to win. You talked about the final score in the Eagles-Bears game not being properly representative of the game. I felt that way about this game. Dallas won 31-28, but it felt like they were very much in control for a lot of it. And I don't mean to like take away from this, but there were so many Chiefs moments that came on fourth down or just, were these like amazing catches or something like that, maybe somebody like Patrick Mahomes or somebody other than Patrick Mahomes doesn't make. But again, the score was what it was. I'm not here to quibble that. But this was a big win for the Cowboys. Patrick Mahomes' first start at AT&T Stadium, obviously Thanksgiving Day. There have yet to be any official reports. This is probably going to be the most watched regular season game ever in NFL history. Not that really matters here. But it was the first time the Cowboys got north of 500, or now they are north of 500 since week 5 of last year. Their first winning streak of at least 3 games since late in the 2023 season, when they won 5 games before falling apart themselves, before getting back together, before the Packers blew them out. And in that respect, I would say like it feels so good to be a Cowboys fan, and it feels so good to feel this way because we haven't felt this way in a very long time. And those things kind of corroborate that idea to me, like that all these different things haven't happened in forever, and now they're happening. And it may ultimately wind up being too little too late, but at the very least, it is incredibly promising with regards to 2026, as we talked about, after the Quentin Williams trade and whatnot.
I think it's quite possible that like the Cowboys, by the time the playoffs start, are like playing some of the best football of any team in the league and will not be in the postseason.
Yeah.
which is kind of I guess that seems like a tough pill to swallow, I would say.
It would be tough, and it would make it all look like coping. I don't think there's any, and it would be coping like on a lot of levels, but
if only we got in.
Well, I mean, and everybody wants to point to the Panthers loss or the Broncos loss as like those are the ones, and they were road favorites in both of those games, and I think they should have won. But I think because I think they might win out, and we can kind of get into that as we look forward for both of these teams. But the one that I think will really want back is that Cardinals game.
Yeah, I was going to say the Cardinals game.
That was the one. Like again, we can make arguments. I mean, especially right now after the Panthers beat the Rams and the Broncos have looked awesome all season. So like those, I think, have become more understandable or less flagrant as the season has wore on, but the Cardinals one just looks like that was the one. Like if you look back, and that was that particular flap of the butterfly's wings sent us to this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a game where, like, I mean, Jonathan Gannon, come on, what are we doing? And what have the Cardinals done since then? They look like terrible since then, mostly, right? Yeah, they've lost every game since then, and we're blown out in 2 of those games. Yeah, I think that's the tough one. And I mean, look, why don't we talk about the Cowboys a little bit from like a playoff positioning standpoint? Because
so they are currently the second team out in the NFC.
Right.
I think that's the best way to kind of phrase it. The Lions are the first team out, which is what makes Thursday night so critical. Now, for any Cowboys fan, obviously watching this on Blogging the Boys, the most recent video in our channel, I went through the New York Times playoff simulator and just kind of explained X, Y, and Z. And the Cowboys can afford to lose another game and still even win the division. Obviously, if Philly just like fully, bottles this thing. But this is kind of the one that you can't lose. If you're still keeping, allowance for a wild card spot, to be clear, I think the more likely thing is a division title, and everyone kind of agrees with that. Just based on the temperature of the Eagles at the moment. And I don't say that in any pot stirring way, although I kind of do. And also because the NFC wildcard teams they just look so solid. It doesn't look like I trust them right now more than I do the Eagles is ultimately what this comes down to. And so, but if you want to hold out hope for a wildcard spot in the NFC, you can't lose this Lions game, because then the Lions are also ahead of you in addition to the 3 teams who currently hold the wildcard spots.
Yeah. And the Packers are in a good spot with the tiebreaker and relative in terms of the conference record, which would be they're 6-2-1 in conference games. Cowboys are 3-4-1.
I think you and I both agree. Let's kind of like, get through some of this quickly. I think we both agree that the loser of the NFC West, not between the Rams and Seahawks, is the 5 seed, right?
Right.
Is the top bottom. Okay. So we're talking about 2 wild card spots here. And so you're talking about Green Bay and San Francisco. Green Bay has 3 games left that are difficult in that they play the Bears twice and the Ravens. And you have no idea what you're going to get from the Ravens right now, admittedly, but that's the hope, right? The Niners have a somewhat difficult game or schedule remaining as well, but they also play the Colts. And the Colts are kind of, taking on water right now, and that's a bit of a tough scene, but like those are the flashpoints. Like those are the ones that have to go the Cowboys' way. And if they do, and obviously if Dallas keeps taking care of business themselves, then Dallas can also potentially sneak in as a wild card team, not necessarily only as a division winner.
Yeah, so I think that's tough, as we've outlined here. The division, and even in the division, for as much as I don't believe in the Eagles here, it's not like a big bar to clear to win the NFC East, as I've outlined in the past. The magic number is still 4, as it is when we last basically talked about it a couple weeks ago, in terms of the most basic way to put it to me, in terms of like maybe realistic, would be the Eagles winning 2 games and the Cowboys losing 2 games. Like the Eagles clinch the division at that point. That seems like not out of the realm of possibility. I don't really love the Eagles against almost any team right now, but they do play the Raiders in Philadelphia, and I got to say, as much as I don't trust the Eagles right now, if there's a team I don't trust more, it's definitely the Raiders.
You were breaking up. That's why I got tongue-tied. But okay, so let's kind of do this. The Cowboys are 6-5-1, and I would like you to tell me how you think the rest of their games go this Thursday night in Detroit.
I think they lose.
Okay, so you think the Cowboys lose that game, and
here's why: the Lions all year have done this thing where like they lose and then they bounce right back.
No Amon-Ra though. That is in all likelihood.
That's true.
I mean,
but the Cowboys are also playing on the road, where they've had a lot of success at home and less on the road.
Okay, so but still, let's just kind of play the game though. So you have them losing, and then against Minnesota next week. I don't know if your internet went out.
Win.
Are you back? Okay, you're saying they beat the Vikings.
Hello, I'm here.
Are you there? Okay, sure.
Yeah,
okay,
beat the Vikings, win.
Okay, so they're 7-6-1.
Yeah, all right.
Then the Chargers at home.
Win.
Okay, so that would
Cowboys
be 8-6-1, and then I think we both have them beating the Commanders and Giants, even though those are both road games to end the season.
I think the Commanders might win.
So you have their floor at 9 wins and maybe ceiling at 11 if they were to win the Lions, and so somewhere between 9 and 11 wins. 9's probably not enough, but I think we ultimately think they're getting to 9 wins. Is kind of where we're at here. So that would require the Eagles to lose more than 2 games remaining. So the Eagles have the Chargers this week in LA, across the country. But we'll see about Justin Herbert and the wrist and all that stuff. If the Eagles don't, this is kind of I think real inflection point, because if Dallas wins on Thursday night, I think we all probably look and say, okay, that was the hardest game left on your schedule. You're probably going to win the rest of these. Maybe at least you're only going to lose one more potentially. And if the Eagles still lose to the Chargers, even if it's not, obviously if it's against Trey Lance, but even if it's against a beaten up Herbert, I think that's when like the panic fully sets in. Yeah. But they would be 8-5, and then they'd beat the Raiders too. I don't think anyone believes in the Raiders in Philly, but Washington twice in 3 weeks to close it out with the Bills in Buffalo sandwich. I think we would pick Buffalo in that situation. So you're talking about they would have to take one of the Commanders games. I don't see how they lose both.
Commanders have been playing better recently, I will say that. But yeah,
and that was impressive.
I do think that they would find a way to at least win one of them. So I'm saying I think the Eagles win. Even me being down on them, I think they might win 2 more games. So then at that point, the Cowboys have to only lose one more game.
Yeah. So no, if you're right. No, to get to 11 though, Dallas would have to win out at this point.
I'm saying but the Cowboys, if the Eagles win 2, the Cowboys can't lose 2.
Right. So I think the Cowboys might lose 1. I'm willing to give them 1 loss between Detroit and LA, and that's kind of it. I think they'll win the others. So then the Eagles would
have to win 3 games at that point to win the division.
Right. And I'm saying the Eagles are definitely losing the Bills game. So that's 1. But I have trouble finding even a second, because I don't, even if you think they split the Washington games, I mean, like, then you would still have to find a third. And I maybe would have picked the Chargers if not for this Herbert thing. But I mean,
I don't know. But the Eagles are minus 800 to win the division for what it's worth on FanDuel. So if you want to bet the Cowboys, you can do that and win some good money.
Let's do this. I don't know why we didn't do this a second ago. So that everyone might have gotten lost in our oh wow, we've never done the screen share on the vertical. It does look weird, but
we can't even read that. We're so tiny too.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, why is there so much just like background?
I don't know.
For the vertical, the vertical.
I can't change that. To be clear. Okay, so let's look at this from a Cowboys perspective. But we'll pick all the games obviously. So if we assume the Cowboys win out, let's say that they dropped the Lions game. Let's do that. Okay. Whoa. And then let's go down and say the Eagles. See, like, for anyone who's unaware, I'll zoom in a little bit here. For anyone who's unaware, these numbers represent Dallas's playoff odds or chances according to the New York Times simulation. So a Chargers win would give them a 50% chance versus an Eagles win would drop that down to 33. So that's why Monday night is critical for the Cowboys. But this admittedly is factoring in a Cowboys loss in Detroit, which would swing things. But let's give the Eagles a win here. And we give them a win against the Raiders because, I mean, again, let's be real, dude. And then where are they in week 16? Where are these losers? Where are the frauds?
Right there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, say that the Commanders take the first one, whatever. I don't think they'll lose both. But then and I think they'll lose the Bills game, which is what we just said a moment ago. And then we give the Eagles the last one, which is here. So that would put Dallas's playoff odds likely out.
Yeah.
At 28%. But if Dallas wins on Thursday night, they win the division.
Right.
So that was, how many losses did we give the Eagles here?
2.
So if Dallas wins that, so for anyone who needs to understand the math from a Cowboys perspective, if the Cowboys win out and the Eagles lose 2, and I think it's really like it comes down to one game because we're willing to believe the Bills will beat them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the one that you're kind of willing to lock from a Cowboys slant.
I think for the Eagles, it's like the surest lock they have is like a Bills loss probably, and then a Raiders win. So it's the other 3 that are up in the air.
Right. And if you can get the Eagles to lose one of them, if you win out, then you're in as a division winner. If they lose 2, then you have obviously all the more room for error to lose a game yourself. But that game probably can't be the Lions game if you're the Cowboys.
Let's call your shot. Are the Cowboys going to win the division?
Look, there's 5 weeks left. I will. How about this? I will make a call. Well, I will make an official declaration next week.
Make a call right now.
Yes, if I have to make a call right now.
You should put a bet on it. Again, I'm not even trolling. I think those are great odds. At plus 650, like you bet $100, you win on $650.
Let's call your bet. Are the Eagles going to win the division?
I think they will accidentally win the division, yeah. Not on their own merit, but somehow they will accidentally win it.
Yeah, like I could see like the Cowboys losing in Detroit and then like the Eagles still losing to the Chargers, right? And like keeping the door open, and then like Dallas has to win that, like Dallas loses on Christmas Day at Washington. And like it's really that like locked it up for the Eagles, not anything that they did necessarily. So.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
That brings us to
it will be hilarious, by the way, if the Eagles 2023 again. I think it would be worse if they 2023.
Yeah, of course it'd be worse.
Well, no, but like it would be worse because you would have to deal with the other, like the sector of people that would be like, oh, well, this means next year we're winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like it would be this like off-season dread. So I kind of hope it happens. And I don't know why I said that. I really hope it happens. I want it to happen more than I want most things at this point in time. So, okay. Do you really want to talk about the Commanders or Giants games?
Well, the Commanders, to their credit, have shown more fight in the past.
And they went for the win, to their credit.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely the right move. Yep,
totally
correct. So I do think, based on what I saw from Hogs Haven, there was like, man, what if Dan Quinn had kind of taken control of the defense earlier? Could things have been different? Probably not. Not like majorly different in terms of they're still not a great team. Still alive. They're still mathematically alive. It's funny. They're actually below the Cardinals in the NFC playoff picture. Like the Cardinals are 13th. Commanders are 14th. But RJ's going out to go sign for a package because apparently he has a new iPad Pro, Mr. Moneybags over here. But yeah, anyway, the Cardinals are above the Commanders in the NFC playoff picture, but the Commanders are still alive because I suppose the NFC East remains unsolved. Obviously, it would take winning out, and they still have a losing record since they have 9 losses now, and getting a lot of help, so it probably won't happen. But officially still alive, but effectively dead, and not really sure what the point of bringing Jaden Daniels back at this point is. Pride, I mean, play spoiler to the Eagles, okay, but then, what if Jaden Daniels gets hurt like he has multiple times this season, and now that injury potentially carries over into 2026? That would be a disaster for them. So I feel like they should just keep playing. How did the signing for the package go?
False alarm.
I was saying here that I just like the Commanders season's over. I don't really know what the point of playing Jaden Daniels is at this point, unless you're just like pride and playing spoiler. But if he suffers an injury that carries over in 2026, that's literally the worst case scenario they could face down the stretch here.
We saw the Joe Burrow quote last week that was about that, right? Like when he was, I thought that was really poignant what he said, and I think we all understand.
What did he say? I didn't see this.
He was asked because he came back last week and they won, which adds to the discussion. He was asked about, given he's the franchise quarterback, like what he says to fans. It wasn't like posturing on it. It was just a question, and it was like, what would you say to fans who want you to sit, like to not damage yourself for 2026?
Well, that's dumb because they're literally alive for the division. The Commanders are not.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I mean, so the argument changes, but he did not say that, to be clear. He said I understand that, like I get that, from a fan perspective. He said, but you only get 17 of these a year. Yeah. You want to play, and then that led to like a lot of like players love to play.
They're 2 games back, right? Like that's totally
okay. Again, but like he did answer it from the perspective of being mathematically out. So like your point adds to his point. I'm just saying, like, so if you're a Commanders fan and Joe Burrow says this, now you're like you're thinking, well, Jaden Daniels, you only get 17 of these a year, and like Joe Burrow also said, we get paid a lot of money to play, a game. And it was, again, really good perspective and whatever. So I think if you're a Commander, and then if you're a Commanders fan, you're saying like, and they won, they beat the Ravens and, whatever. And not that the Commanders are anywhere near in the NFC East race the way the Bengals are the AFC North race. But my point is like that hinders the argument that Jaden Daniels shouldn't play is all I'm saying. But your point is very valid that they are mathematically not literally out, but just about out at this point in time.
And the New York Giants, I'm going to say it's safe to say that Mike Kafka will not be getting the head coach job. There seems to be a lot of frustration from Big Blue View from what I saw. Also, I think the bigger storyline, Abdul Carter. Weird, right? Weird that this is a thing multiple weeks in a row or multiple times within a couple weeks here, where he's kind of getting called out. I don't think ultimately this is a long-term issue. I think this is, a terrible team and one of the storylines that happens on just a terrible team. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve blame. He deserves blame, but I'm not worried that Abdul Carter won't be able to lock in as he gets older and more mature.
I think that it's all of that, and he's a rookie coming from a program that won a lot, right? Like, I think that's hard when you come from a place how many games, I don't know, but how many games do you think he lost between college and high school?
I don't know.
10, maybe. I mean, at the most. And so, you go from that to being around this culture of and I will say a culture, that's who the Giants are. You're the butt of every joke when you have just been the top dog at every step in your life. That has to be a hard thing to reckon with, and maybe that leads to some mistakes or decisions you would want back. I agree with you. I think that's something that gets fixed. This Jackson Dart thing is very much a thing now. I think this is arguably the worst thing that could have happened relative to the Dart discussion moving into next year, because all the discussion next year, pick whoever the head, say it's Mike McCarthy and you freak out, but it's going to be about every March and April headline is going to be Mike McCarthy's working with, or whoever it is, Jackson Dart on his mobility and his running and taking care of himself. It is going to be a thing, and it is going to be a thing that people monitor, and he's going to develop, unfortunately, a reputation for this, to where officials are rightfully going to pull him out at different points in time, and it's going to become a complicated thing. And I don't know that he's at fault for this. It's just who he is as a player. So it's just a really unfortunate situation that has developed.
I don't think you can change that to the degree which it's not a thing anymore, right? I think maybe he can get more mature, he can get older, he can maybe pick his spots better to some extent, but I don't think you change the DNA of the player where he's just not running around at all anymore next year. Again, maybe that happens later in his career, but he also has to get to that point and be healthy enough to get to that point. I think this is a massive problem. The way he invites pressure is just it's not he's doing this and other quarterbacks are doing this too. No, he is at the very much the top percentile of the way he plays, and it's fun to watch, obviously. But it is reckless, and I do think it's going to absolutely hinder him in the long term in terms of being able to stay healthy and develop. I do think it's a massive problem for the long term. It might not burn them next year. They could have his rookie contract. He might have a window. The Giants might have a window there where I'm not saying this hinders them from success entirely. I don't think it does. I think the window is finite with him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how there's no blame to go around. It's just a thing that you deal with. But I will be interested to see how the new head coach handles it. I'll be interested to see their head coaching search period, because they have, a franchise quarterback, franchise running back. They have pieces in place that they haven't had for any of their recent coaching searches. So, and I was talking about this with my friend Jimmy, not Kimsky to be clear, who is I would say a friend, but who's the belle of the ball from a head coaching standpoint?
But it's not a good year to have to need a head coach.
If you're the Giants or Titans, or I guess Raiders soon to be, who's the there's no Ben Johnson, there's not even an Aaron
think Chris
Glenn.
Shula is the closest thing to that, but yeah.
I think that Mike Tomlin is going to be viewed as that guy when the Steelers move
available
on. But I wouldn't want that. I mean, and you brought up, and
I think you would sign up for that if you're the Giants. I think that's a great outcome for them.
I think that Mike McCarthy's a great outcome for them as well. That's been my argument the entire time. But you brought up the familial connection or relationship between the Maras and the Rooneys. So but I thought about this too. That might mean if the Rooneys are out on Mara, then on Tomlin, then why wouldn't the Maras be out?
Well, maybe because they want to give him a landing.
That's fair. But yeah, I will be very interested to see how this goes. My last thing on the Giants, then we can look at this week's games. So I mentioned Florida. John Summerall's their new head coach, Tulane head coach, defensive guy. And so he said in his opening statement that he's going to make sure to hire an amazing offensive coordinator, because the Gators need to have an amazing offense, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So there's all this speculation for who's going to be his offensive coordinator. And one of the names that I saw thrown out was Brian Daboll.
Great.
I thought that was funny. And when I saw it thrown out, maybe you knew this. I didn't. He was high school teammates with Dave Caldwell. Did you know this?
I did not.
Yeah, so he has some relationship with Dave Caldwell. So again, very NFC East thing happening here. Okay, are you ready for week 14?
Yeah. Where do we
How
start?
do we do this, Brandon?
Cowboys. That's right. The Cowboys start in chronological order. Cowboys play first this week. They play on Thursday night.
Oh, wait. You're back.
I'm back.
We need to talk to the building about the internet issues.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I mean, I have everything closed that I could possibly have closed.
Okay, so we do this in chronological order, in sequence that the games are going to be happening. So the Cowboys will be first, the Eagles will be last this week. The Cowboys are on Thursday Night Football. Unique thing, they don't do this all the time or every year, but they do it pretty often where they play 7 days after Thanksgiving. And obviously when they do, they play a team who also played on Thanksgiving. So in this case, they're playing the Lions in Detroit. And this opened as Detroit as a 3.5-point favorite. It's bounced a bit, but at this moment, Detroit is just a standard 3-point home favorite against the Cowboys. You took the Lions, but will you lay the 3 points?
Yeah, I'll take the Lions here. They've just bounced. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they're just banged up in general. Cowboys are certainly playing better than them right now, but like I want to see the Cowboys away from Dallas looking as good. And I also I put faith in the Lions bouncing back. They've done it literally every time this year where they lost a game, they play better the next week. And as you put it, it's like they're almost trying to get that game. They're like trying to win 2 games at once.
Right.
I like their chances of bouncing back here in this spot.
Brandon picked the Chiefs last week, just for everyone's context. But yeah, when the Cowboys traded for Quinnen Williams, there were some coping things happening with people where people were like, "Oh, well, remember when they traded for Amari, they were 3-5." And as I've said many times, they were 3-4, and they lost the first game with Amari. But then it was basically this time of year, and they had all these big time primetime games as well, and they ripped off 5 in a row, and the Eagles collapsed. This was not 2023, but it was a similar sort of collapse. But Washington's collapse is what allowed them to win the division that year. If the Cowboys win this game, I will definitely believe that an Amari Cooper-like infusion is happening relative to Quinnen Williams. I'm going to pick them to win this game. I think the Cowboys are playing at a level where they're just so comfortable in terms of who they are and how they operate, and they believe in themselves. The 21-point comeback obviously is representative of believing in anything being possible at any moment in time. And I'm not someone who feels like you got to go get revenge or whatever. I don't really ever feel that way for the Cowboys. And I said at the time, and stand by it, the Lions had every right to embarrass the Cowboys in 2024. The Cowboys embarrassed themselves in 2024. But the Lions made such a big deal about their reporting as eligible thing and acted like that was the Cowboys' fault. Acted like the Cowboys were the influence behind the missed call from the officials. It was a missed call. I mean, again, that Dallas was the team who like called in the code red or anything was so dumb and so stupid.
It was an improper call.
They were so hell-bent on being cutesy and silly and trying to get Penei Sewell a touchdown when they visited AT&T Stadium last year. And they blew them out, and they had every right to. I have zero issue with that. But this kind of feels like a moment where it would be sweet to see the Cowboys get some revenge and humble the Lions, who have certainly been having their moment that they earned relative to the entire NFL. But I want the Cowboys to win like I do every week. But this week, I really want them to just stick to them and to drop 50 on the Lions. It'd be fun. But I'm taking the Cowboys to win anyway.
Commanders are 1.5-point dogs on the road against the Vikings. Who cares? I'll take the Commanders. Why not? I mean, the Vikings quarterback situation is awful, and the Commanders have actually shown some fight recently. So Mariota's played decently. I mean, maybe they can stumble into a win here.
I can't believe how fast the Vikings' benefit of the doubt and Kevin O'Connell's benefit of the doubt has burned up. Like I would have trusted him. Like if I had ranked coaches by how much I trust them at the beginning of the season, he would have been at the very top. But like
he picked the wrong quarterback.
Well, I mean, and I think it's dumb to say like they had Daniel Jones in the building, but it's kind of fair. I mean, like, you know,
it's fair to say they didn't hedge their bet enough. Yes.
But even then, like the way they went about this and the, like, if you think it was a soft benching or whatever, like they have invited a lot of this drama. So I place the blame for that at the feet of the head coach, but I will take Washington to win. It's been a while since the Vikings were like irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like that's truly where they're at. Like they've been kind of floating for a while, like the whole Kirk Cousins era. But
I would argue they were pretty irrelevant during the Kirk Cousins era.
They were not. They're 4-9 or whatever. They were not this bad. They were not 4-8. Ever at any point under Kirk Cousins. I mean,
your boy Kirk, who's been a backup because he sucks.
Anyway,
the New York Football Giants are on a bye.
Washington, though, just to be clear.
Yeah, the Giants are on a bye, right? This week?
Correct.
That's a very late bye.
last week of the buys. They're on bye. The Panthers, the Patriots and the Niners.
Man,
I think.
What a just awesome season for the Patriots. You know, a fan base, hard times. Man, it's not
that takes us to the Monday night game where the Eagles. This is the Monsters Inc. Is that what it is?
I don't care. Sure.
Wow. Monsters Inc.
I'm not going to be watching that.
Well, I mean, your job is to create content around things the Eagles do.
They're to do the
related
Inc.
to this. So
I don't need to do the
Monsters Inc. is not that great of a movie. Like, to be honest with you, it's okay, but it's not.
I remember playing the Monsters Inc. video game for some reason.
Anyway,
that was fun.
The Eagles are 3-point favorites on the road against a maybe Justin Herbert-less Chargers team at the very best, compromised Justin Herbert-led Chargers team. I'm going to take the Eagles and I'm going to lay the points, but I don't feel great. I don't feel great about it for obvious reasons. And I really hope to be wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers. I don't know though, because this line has been weird. Originally, Eagles were 1.5 point favorites before the Herbert injury news came out, but I don't know how much this injury is like going to impact him, which is weird to say about a fractured hand, but it's just non-throwing hand. Like, I don't know. It seemed to be didn't seem to majorly hamper him in the other game they just played, like that would be against the Raiders. So I just don't trust the Eagles offense at all right now. Do I trust the Chargers a ton? No, but I kind of don't like either of these teams. And I guess that it's a spot where the home point, I mean, there's going to be a lot of Eagles fans in LA. Let's be real. So it's not like the Chargers have this massive home field advantage, but I'll just take the points because I feel like taking points is the move in a matchup where I don't really like either team right now. So I'll say the Eagles lose their third straight game.
I think the most Cowboys result possible here is that Herbert doesn't play and that it's Trey Lance. And that he's the one who beats the Eagles, and that the Jerry interview next Tuesday, the morning after, would just be, I mean, for all the grief he's rightfully taken for the Trey Lance trade, it would be this I knew it, I told y'all, blah. It would be very dumb, but it would be theater at the very least.
I don't feel good about that.
Hey, Joe says, Joe DFW Aviation says, I had the Monsters Inc. game on PlayStation 2, my first PS2 game. Mostly played Madden on PS2. So.
Yep.
Do you remember your first PS2 game? I think we all kind of remember. Mine was NBA Street, my very first one.
A really good game. I like the NBA Street series. I think it might have been SmackDown versus Raw, WWE. Might have been that.
Okay, let's do some songs and get out of here. By the way, Eagles Girl 52 says, I think having a Minions game would be fun. They're not Pixar. Therefore they're not Disney. That's why that's not happening here. So,
all right. What's your song?
My song I've already added is it's got a slash in the title. It's me.
Yeah, like from Guns N' Roses.
No, it's by Michael Bublé. Although Talia is technically a featured accompanying artist on the song. It's called Mis Deseos, which translates to My Wishes / Feliz Navidad. It's from Michael Bublé's Christmas album, and it's my favorite song from it. She sings it with him. Obviously he's got a beautiful voice. She's got a beautiful voice. So the song kind of bounces back and forth between English and Spanish at different points. It's wonderful. It's one of my favorite all-time Christmas songs. A little bit of a culture representation for me. I don't think we have any Spanish on the playlist. So first time I've planted my flag in that sense. Vámonos.
Yeah, I don't think we do. Good ad by you. I like that a lot.
Ad. Okay, like
addition.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, not like AD.
Yeah, so this ad. The NFC East Mixtape is sponsored by Michael Bublé. Just in case.
My pick for this playlist, it's so funny to me that I didn't know this existed until yesterday when I was just looking up December as a song title for song ideas, and I'm gonna pick. This is literally the title. December, parentheses, based on, quote, September, end parentheses, by Earth, Wind, and Fire. It is literally that song, like you added to the playlist back.
Holy crap, you're not lying.
Yeah, but it's like the lyrics are slightly changed. So it's like, do you remember the 25th night of December? But all the rest of the song is basically the same. I was like, how is this real? This feels like this feels fake because it's like, It's
I don't
just
want to
like the
play it
real
on
song.
here
It's
and like ruin our video.
it's
But
very slightly different, right?
but it starts the exact same.
It's
Like
essentially the same song.
I want
But
to
it's
hear the
December
words.
instead. I thought that was so funny. Maybe it's just me, but I thought it was very funny. Anyway, because it's from like I guess they have a Christmas album as a whole, so it's like the
You
last
would
song.
think that there would be like some
no,
like Jingle Bells or
nope,
some
they
sort of
just
like
changed, like,
but it's the same song. That's so awesome.
it's so funny to me. I'm
That's
glad
one
you
of the
liked it.
best ads we've ever had.
I
Oh, man.
was just cracking up listening to that.
That's great.
I want to read my Apple Music replay. Did you look up your replay? This is like your Spotify rap for you Spotify people out there.
So first of all, I believe this is the first year that we have this. You and I are Apple Music loyalists, and this is a newer thing. But I saw that this morning. But I'm afraid I can't tell you mine because I have a 4-year-old, and so I can tell you that my number one artist, my number one artist this year in 2025 was The Greatest Bits. And The Greatest Bits is who put together the Mario Kart soundtrack within Apple Music's library.
Okay.
I listened to them for 875 minutes, but appropriately, my third most played artist of 2025 was Earth, Wind, and Fire because my son loves the song September. So he's going to love this edition when he gets to hear it after school today. So yeah.
It's a totally different song.
He's really into Rudolph right now. Super into Rudolph and
what's the Christmas song, the big Christmas song called with Rudolph in it? Like,
are you like posturing? Like, do you have an opinion on this that you're trying to walk me into?
You know that song that goes
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
No. That's like run
Rudolph, run.
Yeah, isn't that funny? It's called Run Rudolph Run, but the lyrics go run Rudolph. It's weird.
I like this type of this genre of material. A very common like icebreaker for me at Christmas parties is like, how do you really rock around a Christmas tree?
Because you're just like dancing around it.
Okay, but even then, who does that? Like typically the tree is. I know
that's not rocking.
But like when I hear that, I think
you'd have to be like rocking a baby. You could rock a baby. Because
that's the response. People always be like, "Oh, well, they're just dancing near it." No one does that. No one goes to the tree.
You don't know what I'm doing inside.
I know no one. The only time that people are like literally rocking and certainly around the tree is like at a mall when it's like the middle of the ice rink or something, and everyone is like,
I feel like
going
most
around.
people don't have a setup with their tree where you can move fully around it.
That's what I'm saying. It's typically in a corner somewhere. Like there's no tree that you could
put in the middle of your room, dancing around it.
So that's what I'm saying. Like no one is actually dancing around the tree. And even if you want to say that you're rocking near the tree, you're dancing near, no one is doing that because the dance is like, you're kind of twirling people and stuff. Like no one's doing that, near a tree. That's a horrible, thing for Brenda Lee to be thinking about.
Top 15 artists from 15 to 1. This is really of no interest to anyone but me. I'm going to go from bottom to top. We're going to go 15, The Cranberries, 14, Metallica, 13, Angels and Airwaves, 12, La Dispute, 11, Hot Mulligan, 10, Pink Floyd, 9, Kendrick Lamar, 8, Blink-182, 7, Creed, 6, The Receiving Ends of Sirens, 5, Smashing Pumpkins, 4, Thursday, 3, Ghost, 2, Brand New, and number 1, anyone could have guessed, it's Coheed and Cambria.
Well, listen well. Will you marry me? Would Kendrick Lamar have made it had the Eagles not won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I liked the new album a lot, regardless.
Okay, I'm just saying like that because that was in 2025. Like that's all. I'm just
it's a great album.
That context. Okay. Anything else? Oh, I told you before we started that I started Mad Men last night. Oh, and how did we not even mention this? The NFC East Hard Knocks premieres tonight.
I'm so like, I've seen a lot of Eagle sentiment on the Hard Knocks thing. It's like, oh my gosh, like they're gonna like something's gonna be revealed. No, it's not. Like, shut up. Like, sorry to rain on your parade, but like, and if I'm wrong, throw it in my face. It's just like I don't think like, oh my, there's all these juicy secrets that are. Have you watched Hard Knocks? Anyone like other than the Joe Shane one? That was a disaster. Like, I don't think we're gonna see anything that's like very, at least when it comes to the Eagles. I can't speak for the other teams, but I don't think we're going to see anything that interesting.
I think this first episode, so for anyone who's unaware, it is in season Hard Knocks, and they started last year covering an entire division. So that was the AFC North. They started doing the NFC East. I think this episode is going to feature a lot of the Cowboys-Eagles game. And just that's going to be like 60% of the episode. And then we'll get a little bit of the Giants, rallying and Brian Daboll being fired. Maybe taking a phone call from John Sumrall and Dave Caldwell about going down to Gainesville. I think that we'll get a rehab, bit with Jaden Daniels, like how he's working, he's trying to come back. And then I think we'll get, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts both offering some cookie cutter fortune cookie, like, we're working hard, we know our process can lead to great things and blah, blah, blah. Like that's the whole episode. John Facenda will narrate.
Yeah, I would personally keep expectations low.
All right. As we leave, Brandon, how about you tell us where
I'm going in a couple, well, I don't know how many weeks at this point, but I'm going to go to Colombia. First time ever leaving the North America. I've been to Canada before, but I've not been to any other country. So going to Colombia at some point in the new year.
Like you have it booked, or like you're just like
booked.
You need
hotel flights.
Are you saying like you don't want to tell us when, like you don't want to dox the thing? Is that
I don't want to dox anything, but it's for
it sounded very vague and you were like at some point in the new year. So but
it's for Elizabeth and Holden's wedding. Like they're having a formal wedding. I married them. Like they're actually married, but they're having, because Holden has a lot of family in Colombia, so he wants to get, like kind of more traditionally married down there as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And I guess if anyone's been to Colombia, Medellin specifically, give me recommendations.
How did you spell this? And also, how did you pronounce this? Medellin? Isn't it Medellin? Like
I don't know.
Pronounced like a Y? Well, you've clearly never seen Entourage. I mean,
Entourage.
Why are you pronouncing Entourage like this? That was a whole thing. Like Vinny Chase.
I don't know.
Wow. Jerry Jones was in Entourage. But shout out to Colombia. On the subject of geography, I mentioned my son's birthday was last week. We got him a globe, and it's like an interactive globe. Like you can touch the different places and stuff and learn different things or whatever. I think I knew this, but maybe I forgot it. Did you know that Australia is the only country that is the entire continent that it's a part of?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I knew that and just like
that's not true, right? Tasmania.
Tasmania isn't the whole continent. That's what I'm saying. Like it's the continent of Australia. There's no other country on the continent. It's only Australia.
Sure.
What do you mean? Sure. Like that's a fact. What are you talking about? Sure. Are you doubting this? Like the globe told me. We were playing with it the other night. So, all right. How about you say Medellin and we get out of here? Oh, and while we're at it, tell Holden that not only do I live rent free in his mind, but at least Elizabeth has a song on the NFC East Mixtape playlist.
Medellin, I guess.
Medellin. Again, watch Entourage. I mean, or Narcos, as it was noted in the chat. Medellin. That was their passion project in Entourage.
I mean, I'm a white guy, so what do you expect?
I don't know what that means. What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the pronunciation?
I don't know the pronunciation.
Well, I would expect you to maybe have seen Entourage then to that point. You would have learned it by proxy.
I've not seen it.
Okay. Predict one. Oh, Eagles Girl challenged me. Said, isn't New Zealand part of the continent too? I don't think so.
I think that's like
it's like a property of Australia. It's technically Australia.
Oceania. I don't know. Who knows?
Is New Zealand?
Yeah. See. If you Google New Zealand, it'll say country in Oceania, but like no one's like Oceania. That's a continent.
This went in a lot of ways. How about as we leave, Brandon, predict one word that will be said on the episode of Hard Knocks covering the NFC East tonight. Any word that will be said.
Boots.